Yes, I cried right after doing my makeup about this show again. Hey, it's Allie. Welcome back to my channel, and it's over. It's literally over. Like I don't know. It feels really surreal to think that the Owl House is over, that this was the last episode of the entire show. There's not going to be another season. There's not going to be another special. There's not going to be another nothing. Well, like maybe we'll get like a comic or something in the future. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, it's over. And I have so much to say about it. So, no more preamble. Let's just get into it. If at any time you like this video, please give a like and subscribe because I make videos like this all the time. And comment down below how long you've been watching The Owl House. Did you watch it while it was still prime time Disney Channel, or did you just get into it just now? There's no shame in that. And also comment below who your favorite character was at the end of the day. Honestly, the Collector came and stole my heart. I love Luz. Luz will always be number one, but the Collector did come and like steal my heart. So let's jump into it. So I have a lot of mushy stuff to say, but I feel like I need to do like an actual critique of the show before I just let all of my emotions devolve into me blubbering like, oh my God, the show is so good. I at least need to try and do my job for a second. So I want to start off, we're not going to go in like chronological order. I don't really feel the need to do that. Instead, we're going to talk about like certain characters and their certain parts of the episode. Specifically, let's start with Belos. I think Belos was an amazing villain, start to finish, the entire show. I think the adding of Belos really made it feel like an overarching plot, because much like a lot of Disney Channel shows, a lot of cartoons really that kind of start off as like week to week, issue of the week, adventure of the week type shows, the adage of like a villain, a reoccurring villain, does kind of make it be like, okay, there is this overarching plot, and the plot will probably end when we defeat this like overarching villain. And that's pretty much exactly what happens. Belos comes in, he's this like unstoppable force. It's really interesting to me considering Belos's backstory of like being this human who just stumbles across the like boiling isles and just is trying to overtake, and you failed. Like, the thing about Belos is that he's such a loser. He is a loser from start to finish. This man is a loser, and he uses that like complex I guess he has about being a loser to enact power over everybody. And I really like the overarching theme of kind of like chaos or not free will, but like kind of like being free to make your own decisions and make your own choices, like magic being this thing that is chaos and kind of, but not in a bad way, but somebody like Belos who has like needs control over everything in his life is just like, no, I need to control this. I need to be in power. Because I don't understand it. I need to be in control. I need to be in power. And I feel like low-key there was so much more to say about that. I wish I could have had a little bit more time with Belos and his character, especially like with Philip and like that whole thing. It would have been really nice to see a little bit more of like some flashback episodes. Maybe that was like a plan that like just didn't happen. But it would have been nice to see that, because it would have been nice to see more of a character, though I feel like we were given enough, because I don't want to harp on too much of like what we didn't get, but I feel like we were given enough to infer his character. All of his lines were delivered so well, his writing was delivered so well that you could just infer that he just feels like he's above everybody else, but in reality he is like low-key the weakest out of everybody. He is constantly the weakest out of everybody because he has to constantly find other people and find other things to latch onto in order to make him powerful. And that, I love that. I love it. I love that flavor. No, but I love that type of storytelling, especially in a villain that is a true villain. Something that a lot of people have been talking about Disney movies and shows and TV and all that type of stuff, about how there isn't really like villains anymore, like straight up villains. They always have to be some type of twist villain or some type of like, oh, actually they're not really a villain. It's just they were traumatized and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like there's a time and a place for everything. I feel like we've gotten to the point now where these types of villains have kind of overstayed, those types of villains have kind of overstayed their welcome, and I don't think every show needs to have a villain that is like sympathetic. I think it is okay to just have a villain who is a villain. Like we talk about like One Piece and stuff, like most One Piece villains are just villains. I realize that like probably a lot of you who are watching this don't watch One Piece. Watch One Piece. Anyway, but like in this case, we have a villain who is just straight up a villain. Like there's very little redeeming qualities about him. And that is something that they actually touch on at the end of the episode when Liz is talking to Papa Titan and is like, are we not just as bad as him? Like we have our own motives for like doing things, and our motives are to like protect our family. His motives is to like protect humanity, quote unquote. And Papa Titan tells Liz like, no. Like really think about it for a second. Is he really like, who is he protecting? Like, is he really protecting humanity? Like really look at the books, girl. Look at the template. Look what's going on. Like, is that really what's happening? No, he's just doing all of this for his own like gain and his own power and his own fantasy of what he believes is order and righteous and like whatever. And that like, I love that they touched on that, because I feel like that is something that Luz, that we didn't really get to see a whole lot of, but like that Luz like is a part of her character, is that feeling that she is just like Belos in a way, which like was hinted at throughout these 3 specials, that her and Belos are kind of one in the same, or she feels like her and Belos are kind of one in the same. I love that that was like a conversation she had with another person who has been through the thing that she has been through, which is Papa Titan. Love that. I also really liked the physical forms of Belos as well. Like I think the turning him into an actual parasite, I think was so like it was just so good, because like I said earlier about how he literally has to rely on other people and other power. Like humans don't naturally have like magically gifted powers, and so he had to rely on like everybody else. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he ever like really has like magic. Like I think he uses other people, but himself, like the same way like Liz was able to draw on the Titan's power, I don't think he was ever able to do that. Was he? Let me know down in the comments, because I'm like, if that's true, like that also leads credence to his character, the difference between him and Luz. Like he has to constantly, he just manipulated everybody else around him, and he used like obviously mechanisms and whatever to like learn magic and stuff like that, but like really he was not given any magic, he just took magic, which I think is like obviously the big difference between like him and Luz. So I really like that as well, and that leads credence to his physical form, as well as like being this parasite, this goopy nasty parasite thing. He was literally a fungus like at the end when he was like spreading all across the boiling isles. Oh, it was so gross. It actually I don't know what it is about like growth like that like grows onto a person, and I didn't like it in The Last of Us. I don't like it here. I don't like it. No, I don't like fungus. I don't like mushrooms. I've never liked mushrooms. They're slimy, like to eat. They're slimy. They're gross. And then the whole, like the way fungus like just grow and spread, and there's very little to stop fungi. Like when the world burns up and dies, you know what will still be here? Fungus. Like that's crazy to me. That is crazy to me. Anyway, on a lighter note, I literally said during the moment where Belos was like, Luz, I was totally under a spell this whole time. And everybody was looking at him like, girl, what? And then the acid rain started. That was poetic. And he started to like melt, and he's like, you're gonna be just as bad as me. Like, you're gonna be just as bad as me. Like, how could you do this? Humans are better than this, blah, 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 blah. And then, Rain and King came up and said, we ain't, and stomped I literally, when they were looking down on him, I was like, stomp his ass out. That's exactly what they did. I laughed so loudly. Oh my God, my roommates were sleeping. I had to like keep it down, but I laughed so loudly when they literally stomped his ass out. I was like, that was very satisfying. I don't know what other end for a person like him. That's also one of the things about villains, having just straight villains, not antagonists, but actual villains. Like, it's so satisfying to actually like defeat them in the end and actually like low-key kill them, because in other like stories where a villain is like even remotely sympathetic, like you have this moral conflict about killing them, and this one it was just like he needs to go. He needs to die. Like, there is no locking him away in a tower for forever. No. He needs to be eradicated from the earth, from the boiling isles, all of it. And he was. And I love that. I love that choice. Thank you so much. Okay, so next I want to talk about Papa Titan. Parental figure Titan. Oh my God. Did I say this on Twitter? I think I might have. Parental Titan is so sans coded. I will not elaborate on it, but if you get it, you get it. Did my chair go down? I think my chair went down. Yeah, okay. That's a little better. But yeah, if you get it, you get it. The girls that get it, get it. And if you don't, you don't. voiced by the Aaron Hansen. I was like, is that Aaron Hansen? Literally every 5 seconds I was like, is that Aaron Hansen? That sounds like Aaron Hansen's like old man voice. Is that Aaron Hansen? And it was Aaron Hansen, because I'm right. I may not be able to pick out actors in a live action show, but voice actors, a lot of the time I can do that. I can do that. I may not be able to say their real life name, but I will be able to say, oh my God, it's Vegeta. Like if a character voices another character, I'd be like, oh my God, Zoro. Oh my God, Vegeta. Like, I'm able to do that. I may not be able to pinpoint the actual like real life name of that person, but I can definitely relate them to another character. Though Aaron Hansen's voice is just so like unique that I just know it like off rip. Also the fact that like we got confirmation that with Parental Titan, they're both mother and father, like king and queen. Like, okay, gender fluid baddie Sans. Okay, I'm done with the Sans. I promise. I'm done with the Sans references. It was just giving Sans. It was just giving Sans the whole time. Anyway, I loved them. I was, at this point, my brain was melting because of the events that happened right up into that moment. So my brain was already melting. So when this was happening, I was just kind of staring at the screen. Like, at this point, I'm just along for the ride. I had to watch it twice. I watched it twice back to back. Like, I had to watch the special twice because I was like, there's no way I can like comprehend what is going on. Like, I like was trying to take notes, and then eventually I was just like, put the phone down, just watch it, and then watch it again and take notes, which is exactly what I did. It was, because that moment, there was so much going on in that moment. There's so many like lore implications of like falling through the like water, and then Papa Titan being like, no, if you fall through that, you're actually gonna die. So don't do that. You'll actually be dead. You'll actually be gone. And the fact that like her, like Liz's like I guess resolve was like gone, and she was like really ready to just go, and she was physically like about to go, and it was just like no, come back, we're not doing that. It was such a tender moment. It really was. It's such a tender moment. I guess that was the answer. I don't know. Someone in my last video left a comment, because I asked in my last video about the outhouse. I asked, like, who do you think that person is? I think some people might have said, like, one of the archivists or another collector. I'm sure somebody probably pointed out that it was probably, like, a Titan or something. I think we all weren't expecting it, because we were expecting Titans to be this really big, huge, like, thing. This big, huge Titan. Only to find out when Liz was done speaking to Papa Titan, she was just a skeleton the whole time. Like that implication was just, I love stuff like that. I love motifs like that. I love stuff like that. It was, I loved that so much. And the like message that Papa Titan wanted to give to King, I cried. I loaf you. Like, I cried. It was too wholesome. It was just too wholesome, especially given the moment. I literally broke down crying. I'm gonna have to go through and scrub through to tell y'all all the moments that I cried, but that was a moment where I absolutely cried. Sad that we didn't get to see more, obviously, of Papa Titan, but I love Papa Titan. I love Papa Titan so much. I do. All right, let's talk about the collector. Some of y'all... I found out later on Twitter that some of y'all thought the collector couldn't be redeemed. Last time I checked, the collector didn't kill anybody. Last time I checked, we were all on the same page with understanding that the collector is a child who just wanted a friend. Even King was able to understand that in the second like special. So I don't know where y'all got the notion of like, he is irredeemable. Don't know where you got that notion from. I don't know where you got that notion from. Okay, I really wanted Mama Noseda to adopt him in the end. I was seeing a whole lot of fan art of that as well. That did not happen. I also wish the collector would have stayed around a lot, like afterwards. Like I wish he would have went to school and got to play Grudge Bee and like all that stuff. That also did not happen, which is like, I guess, yeah, some consequences for his actions need to happen. It can't just not have any consequences for his actions. I get it, but like, it would have been cute if he got to go to school and he got to learn about school and everyone's like kind of like helping him and stuff. Like, you know, it takes a village type mindset. I wanted someone just to adopt the collector, honestly. At this point, I wanted that to happen. I love that the collector kept calling Rain Ray Ray. At any point when Rain was in danger, at that point I was just saying Ray now. Like, I'm only going to be referring to Rain as Ray at this point. Oh yeah, at this point. I love the full range of emotion that we get from the collector, because usually in these types of characters, they're usually pretty apathetic, and they're like, because they are so childish and so like just above it all with their power and everything, we usually don't get to see a lot of like empathy or any type of emotion other than like playfulness and stuff like that. So I'm glad, especially given the cosmic horror type entity that he is, we got to see a lot of emotion pulled from him, a range of emotion, and I loved it. Even though he was like obviously a naive child who doesn't really know a whole lot about the world around him, the fact that like we got to pull some emotion out of him, especially with Liz, like immediately he just like, obviously he wanted friends so much that Liz, Ida, and like King just almost immediately recognized that and was immediately like, okay, this person is redeemable. And I think that's the whole point of like the collector versus Belos, is that one is redeemable and one isn't. One really genuinely just wanted friends, and the other one just wanted to control everything, you know? So I thought that was really cool to see, especially with the collector and the little mini arc that he went through throughout the entire time. And it was, I am a sucker for when a character dies and another character is just like, okay, joke's over, where are you? Especially when it's a child. Tears falling down my face. Oh my gosh. So with that, let's talk about Luz. Yeah, Luz just died. I remember saying this on Twitter, but I'll say this here. Did y'all like, can you imagine for a second, this was week to week, the season finale, like week to week, and Luz just died for an episode? Like, the way it was edited and the way it was cut, you could tell that is where an episode was supposed to end. Can you imagine the shambles that we all would be in if Luz just was dead for a week, and we all were just like, the implications of Luz just being dead? Oh, the fan art we would have gotten if Luz was just dead, because it looked pretty final, especially Luz turning into like light the way that she did, and of course floating by Mama Nosita, and she was crying. Also cried at that point too, so that's at least 3 times that I cried during this special. Yeah, that really got me. At this point, didn't that happen in Amphibia as well? It happened in Amphibia as well, and I still was caught off guard in this. I still was like way caught off guard. I was not expecting her to just die. Like, she actually just died, and then like somehow Papa Titan was able to just bring her back to life, or I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know. Bring her back from the brink. That's what happened. Luz, of course, getting her Titan powers. Bro, I don't even know how to, like, when I first saw that, I screamed. I actually screamed. I was like, oh my God. I was like hoping for a transformation. Oh my God, we got it, and then some. At first, my first thought was like, oh my God, she looks like Claudine. She looks like how I wish Claudine looked. Like, let's be honest, but with a little bit more color. Obviously, Claudine would need more color. I'm talking about Claudine from Monster High, by the way, just in case you don't know what I'm talking about. If Claudine, I would love Claudine to look like that, but like with more color. But this for Luz was, it was perfect. I'm not a cosplayer, because I mean, like, I cosplay occasionally, but like, I'm not like a cosplayer like that where I'm like making my own clothes and like stuff like that. I don't know how to do any of that. But this, I was like, if I had the skills, I would make this in a heartbeat. In an actual heartbeat. How many people are going to see this at the conventions this summer and for Halloween? Absolutely. Also, her powers, I wish they were permanent. I wish that Papa Titan had just bestowed upon, like, inherited, like, she had just inherited Papa Titan's powers. I wish that was the case. Obviously, it was not, but I wish it was. I know that was all a part of the, like, whole thing of like magic and coming from within and whatnot. The fact that like Ida was helping her out, like, use her new magic powers, I started crying. That I don't know why. It was in the middle of a fight, but that part just really got me. That really got me. Oh my God, Liz not knowing what to say, and then when she was like fighting Belos, first of all, animation change. Oh, I was so happy. I was hoping for, like, you know, the whole key animation thing that they do for like specials. I was so happy to see that. Oh my God, the animation was so fluid. It was so good. And the colors were like really vibrant as well. I loved that. All of the like little purple and black, of course, you know, I gotta do my makeup today, you know. The purple and black like sparkles. The palette was so good. Oh my god, it really is kind of like a subversion of what we would normally think of, because a lot of, like, you know, you see like powerful people, like for instance amphibia, you know, they had the main primary colors and those are really bright and sparkly, but for Liz to be like, have, first of all, have a snake as a talisman and have like a purple like aura around her as her like witch powers, like that is like really subversive to like what you would normally see in a lot of like protagonist kid shows, to have that color that is so often associated with like bad, being a bad character or evil or like whatever, to have her have that and like not be that. It was so subversive and it was really nice to see, pleasant on the eyes, of course. Like I really love that a lot. I feel like that ties into Liz's character a lot also, with like not feeling that she belongs and like being the odd one out and not like feeling that she's like good enough or like whatever. So yeah, but anyway, when she was pulling Belos out of that thing and she had her little monologue, I cried during that part too. I cried during that part, because she always talks about she doesn't have a little monologue, she doesn't have a little action thing to say, and like she did in that moment. So yeah, and that, like, it was such a satisfying way to end an episode, and I love that we got a little time skip just like we did in Amphibia, where we got to see everybody and what they're doing. I'll get to this in a second, but I'm so happy that the doorway remained open between Magic Worlds and Liz like can figure out how to use magic again. Like, I am so happy about that, and I'll elaborate that in a second, but let's get into the like the last part of the post time skip stuff. First of all, Hunt Low. First of all, they all got tattoos of Flapjack. I was screaming. I was screaming and crying. In fact, we actually need to back it up even more, because when everybody was being reunited with their families and Hunter thought he didn't have nobody. Hunter and Darius's little reunion. That was literally all, like, I don't know why, like, that was like the main thing. If you go on my socials, like, well, obviously not right now, but like when it came out, the only thing I posted about it was that screenshot. And if you because that screenshot, I don't know why, that literally I I was like, yeah, no, that's his dad now. Like, I don't make the rules. That's his actual fucking dad now. Also, the tombstone for Flapjack. Thank you for finding me. Tears. Even saying it right now just makes my chest like clench. Oh my god. Darius and Amity's father took me by surprise. I yelped. That one was a surprise yelp, because okay. Like, okay, girl, like, all right, okay. They gave my boy Gus some dreads. Thank you for that one. Willow, hello, for life. I don't know why we are still to this day questioning it. Just stop questioning it. Just stop. I love this tweet. I hope it's still there by the time I'm editing this, made by Zeno Robinson, who voices Hunter, and he just said Hunter on his deathbed with kids and married to Willow. Thanks for everything, bestie. I love that so much. And of course, Liz is like, I'm gonna major in everything, but like, if we're being realistic for a second, I think that she should major in like creative writing or some type of like civil like service thing that like kind of, I don't know, kind of connects and also like gives back to her community. I could also see her doing something like that, because I don't know, I could just see her working at like, I don't want to say a library, but I guess a library or some type of activist place. She just gives off those vibes. Also, I love their designs. They're like little grown-up designs. Amity's design. I know I haven't mentioned Amity this whole time because she wasn't really in the episode. Her design here, that is the most lesbian-looking design I have ever seen in my life. Good job. Well, it's over now. What? I haven't felt this feeling of like watching something end and being there for the finale in like a very long time. That felt this like, wow, this was like a multi-year thing that I have been into this show and it's like over now. I haven't felt that in a very long time. So I was very much sitting on my couch last night like, what now? Like, obviously I have a shit ton of cartoons and things that I need to watch, obviously, but like I really was just like, this show, Amphibia, all of these shows are just so unique. Like, despite the fact that they have a lot of the same elements, especially Amphibia and the Owl House, they have a lot of the same elements, but both of them are just so unique in their own way. They were able to make characters in a world that is so unique to each other that even though they touched on a lot of the same things and a lot of same themes, they felt so different from one another. And why Amphibia felt right for them to leave Amphibia forever and never come back, whereas it wouldn't have felt right here. Like, I was thinking about that last night, and I think I have a reason why. I definitely think Amphibia was more about kind of owning up to yourself and knowing when to let go. Obviously, with like Marcy and a lot of the catalyst for all of this being brought on by Marcy, that show was a lot of like growing up and a lot of moving on. It was like enjoying like what is now because you will not have it in the future. And despite the fact that it is gone, enjoying what was then. And, you know, enjoying in the moment and being with your friends in the moment and knowing that no matter how far away you get from one another, you will always have that friendship. Nothing will ever break that friendship, even if you never see them again for the rest of your life. Like, sprint against the world, always, for forever, bro. Whereas like the Owl House is more about like finding yourself and finding what you like and what you're good at and being free to explore all those avenues. I really love the like through line about magic being this free wielding thing, and trying to control it is like trying to control your own life. Like, Liz stuck out like a sore thumb. She didn't really fit in anywhere, and she had to kind of learn that is okay, and it's okay to kind of make your own way and not be, if you don't follow whatever is set, whatever society I guess has set for you, society, whatever, it is okay to like make your own way. And that is scary, and that can feel like you are in the wrong constantly, but being able to push through that is like extremely important. And so that's why I feel like those two through lines are the reason why it works that Amphibia, they were no longer able to return to Amphibia, whereas the Owl House, it's constantly like a back and forth open thing. It's about integrating this into your life, integrating magic and integrating wild magic specifically into your life and into other people's lives, and having that community. It was also a lot about community as well. And so that's why I think that like those two separate endings, despite the fact that they are very similar shows, the two endings there being completely different works for one, but I don't think would have worked for another, if that makes sense. I also just really like the full circle leitmotif in this. Like, it took me a while to notice that they were doing that throughout the episode, but like especially towards the end, like that little ball of light being like the first thing Lo's ever learned, and like it being so special to her and so encompassing of what she is. I loved it. This is such a joy of a show. This was such a joy of a show. So unique. You know how I feel about shows that like inspire you to go and create things and to go tell stories that you want to tell. I feel like the show, it always did a really good job at that. Thank you, Dana, and the rest of the crew. You know, I feel like a lot of people have been talking about where animation is headed in the last couple of like months with layoffs and shows getting canceled out the wazoo, and it can feel really like pessimistic in a way where you feel like, damn, the show is ending. The fact that it even got to end the way that it ended because these people like fought so hard, and we all fought so hard just to allow it to end properly, and even though it was cut drastically short down to 3 episodes, like the fact that we get that is still astonishing to me. And I've seen like pilots like Lackadaisy like just came out, and I've been reading a lot about, because I didn't know anything about Lackadaisy, but Lackadaisy has been on the streets for a while. It's a webcomic, and they just released a pilot that was kickstarted way back in like 2018-ish or like whatever, and now it like just got put out a couple weeks ago. And I've been watching a lot of like behind the scenes people like talk about it, because I didn't know anything about this, and I love the animation and the story looked really cool, and I will be reading the webcomic. But listening to people talk about like what it was like to work on there and how they feel about the state of animation, like actual animators talk about the state of animation and how they feel like that is the way things are gonna go, like the more indie route of things, makes me happy and hopeful. And I hope that if there are new cartoons that are going to be put out by these big studios and these big production companies like Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, I hope that they understand like what this means. Again, there was a whole video I made about Cartoon Network at the end of last year about where they think that they're heading, and like one can only hope. Like, I'm gonna choose to stay optimistic because this show made me optimistic. So thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you did, obviously leave a like, drop a comment, let me know what your favorite part of the show was, what your favorite part of the finale was, who your favorite character was, what show do you think I should watch next. I do have a list of shows I already need to be watching, but like, you know, if you want to see something from me, if you think there's a show that I missed out on, because that's what happened with Amphibia, is y'all told me to watch Amphibia, and I did, and that was an amazing show. So if there's something that you think I missed out on, or that is currently going on that you're like, oh, get on it, Devil Dinosaur is in my wheelhouse. Don't worry, it is. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.